Hi guys, welcome back to Jungle Flowers Canada. So guys, I promised I would do a video on Leca. So I thought I would do it today. I actually came out to the garden to do it. I was going to do it on my patio table, but there's a reflection from the trellis that's over our deck. So it's kind of hard to see. So I'm just going to sit here for now, and then when I need to, I will zoom in to show you what I'm doing. So, semi-hydroponics, what is it? Well, first of all, hydroponics is just pure water. So basically it's plants that are suspended over water. There's no soil, there's no other ingredient, it's just water. So then there's semi-hydroponics, or some people call it passive hydroponics, where we use what they call Leca, which is a lightweight expanded clay aggregate. And it usually comes in ball shaped. There are different sizes, and some are irregular, some are regular. It depends on how you buy them. So basically it uses the process called wicking. So you put some water in the bottom of your vessel, whatever you're going to use to hold the leca and the plant, and you usually fill it about a third up, and then the water will wick up through the porous clay, and the roots will then just take water as it needs it. So it has the advantage that plants won't be overwatered. So I did a little bit of research, and this is just going to be a very basic explanation of leca. I think it's maybe the latest fad in plant growing. I don't know, maybe some people have, I'm sure, been doing it for years, but I think now everybody is hearing about leca, they're seeing it on YouTube videos, and maybe they're a little bit curious, as I was. So I decided I would transfer some of my plants into leca and see how they do. Would it be a long-term solution for me? I don't know. I'll see how well the plants do. But there's a number of elements you need to consider when you're using leca. First off, plants don't get any nutrients from leca like they do from soil. So this means you have to substitute this nutrient. So you will need to buy some nutrients for hydroponics, and you will have to add them to your plant. So there's many products available on the market. Some are very expensive. So I did a little bit of research and found out that there is actually a Canadian company called Root Farm, and they have produced products for hydroponics. So I decided I would try theirs. Now, a lot of people are using a particular one. I will put a picture of it up, that's available on Amazon, and it's quite expensive. You use so little of this, it's going to last you forever. And the Root Farm one, it may be a smaller bottle, but you use so little, I think it will last you a long time, and it's a lot cheaper. In fact, I got some of it on sale at Lowe's for like a fraction of its original cost. So as it's Canadian, I thought let's promote our own. And I'm going to go through with you today how I got started with leca. I am not saying I am an expert at this, guys. This is my research, that's all. So as time goes on, some things I might dispel, some things I might add. You know, this is a learning process for you and for me. I just thought I'd bring you on the journey with me. So I'm going to show you the products I have purchased. I will put them up on the screen, and I'll put a link to them in the description. And let's get started. So guys, first and foremost, you're going to need leca. I purchased this in IKEA. I think it was about $12, maybe $12.99 a bag. I will put the price up. And it comes in different sizes of balls. There's little ones and there's larger ones. And you'll see it's lightweight clay. I know it's clay because my puppy got one and she was chewing on it, and you could hear that it was rock hard. Thankfully I got it off of her. Then you're going to need the nutrients. So these are the ones that I purchased. So this is the company, and it's called Root Farm. And you need two different products for hydroponics and semi-hydroponics. So you need a base, which they call part 1. Then you need to buy the second one, which is called part 2. Makes it easy for us. And Root Farm do some for flowering plants, they do some for vegetables. But I bought the one that said all-purpose because I wasn't really sure which one to buy. So I thought, you know, I'm just going to use the all-purpose, and let's see how we get on with it. Now, it is also helpful to buy a pH test kit. I got this one actually in Canadian Tire, and it wasn't, I think it was like maybe $9. And like, this is going to last you forever. What's in the testing kit? There is a little vial where you're going to take a sample of your water. And then there is actually what is this called? It's called the pH test indicator. So this is the liquid that you're going to literally put, I can't remember how many drops to put in, but just, you know, a couple of drops possibly into the vial. You're going to shake it up, and then along here you have all the colours of the pH. Now ironically, I didn't have to add anything else to mine. But if you should have to do that, there is a thing called pH up, and I actually have the other one inside, and the other one's called pH down. Now what I've heard from most of the videos I've watched, you rarely have to use the pH up. Usually it's the pH down, and the only time you'd use the pH up is if you put too much pH down in it and you wanted to bring the pH back up. So I just bought both of them because I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't actually have to use either of them in my first mixture that I made. Now another thing that I've seen a lot of people use is this is called Superthrive. Now it's not necessarily a fertilizer, but it does help the roots to grow and it does help them to thrive. It's called Superthrive. And you add a tiny drop of this. I think I added a 1/4 teaspoon because I just mixed 2 litres of water. Most of the measurements are for 4 litres of water. I will get myself one of those 4-litre water bottles, I just haven't got around to getting it. So they were the products that I purchased. Now it's a one-time outlay, but you won't have to buy these again for the longest time because you use so little of them, they will last forever. So I'll just put my little pH in. I will show you guys how to do this. So the first thing you're going to need to do is wash your leca. It's very dirty, very clayey, and I wouldn't advise doing it in your sink. What I would advise you do is get a bucket, which is what I did. And then I went to Dollarama and I got this, and I'm going to use my hose and I'm going to wash the leca, throw out the water and keep washing it until it's clear. Now I have seen videos where people boil it. I've also seen videos where people say you don't need to boil it. Apparently if you're reusing it, so if you have already used it on a plant and you're taking that plant out and you want to reuse the leca, they do recommend at that point that you boil it. But initially when you buy it, you don't have to boil it, guys. I didn't boil mine, I just gave it a really good wash. If you want to boil it, of course you can, and there seems to be different views on this, but I think for the most part, I think a lot of people started out making the videos and telling people to boil it, and then their later videos they were like, you know what guys, you don't have to boil the leca. So I didn't boil mine. Okay, so let's get started. I have a hose here, I have a bucket, and I'm going to wash the leca. Okay guys, so I'm just going to open the packet. I did use some of this already, so this isn't a full bag. And I'm just going to pour the leca into my pan. You can see the powder coming off of that. And then I'm going to take my hose. There's a little chipmunk flying across the back of my fence. And I'm just going to wash the leca. Sorry, that was not supposed to happen, guys. I should have held it. I'll pour that leca back in. Okay, so, and basically you're going to wash it until it runs clear. I'm going to take this now out to my garden, and I don't know if you can see how dirty the water is. I'm going to pour that leca back in. Okay, now I'm going to wash it again. It's hard to see because this is black, but it's getting clearer. Okay. So I can see now that the water is clear. So there is your leca washed. So that's perfect, ready to be used. I'm going to put this down here now because I do need to wash roots off of one of my plants. Okay guys, now I'm going to show you how to test and add nutrients to your water. Okay guys, so this is the water I prepared for my plants. I just set on some water there, guys. And make sure, like this, I don't have any children. I mean, I have a grandson who's 5.5 months, but I put this away. You don't want to be leaving something like this on your counter if you have young children, right? They'll think it's juice. I'm just using that in the meantime until I get one of those big water bottles. So I'm just going to use this today. This is a really cute antique milk bottle, and it's, I'm guessing, about 1 litre. So I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to quarter all the measurements that it requires on the bottles. Okay, so you just follow the measurements on the bottles, I'll talk you through that though. Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to do is add our nutrients to our water. So you check the pH after you have added the nutrients. So my lovely old-fashioned bottle, I'll put it up here. Cute. I love these. My sister-in-law gave me these and I love them. And where did I put my... Okay, so we have our base. On the base, guys, it gives you different measurements for different stages of plants, okay? So, part 1, so it says there's a measurement for seedlings, there's a measurement for early growth stage, and then there's a measurement for late growth stage or mature growth stage. So I use the measurement for the early growth stage for the plants that I have, because I'm only starting them off in Leca. Okay, so this is the amount you add to 4 litres of water, guys. So you'll see how little you need. So for the early growth stage, for 4 litres of water, you need 75 ml or 1.5 teaspoons. So now I'm going to quarter that, and I'm going to put that into my milk bottle. And you add the same amount of the part 2, which in my case is the all-purpose. Okay guys, so I'm just going to figure out what a quarter is, and I'm going to go get my measuring spoons and I'm going to add it to my milk bottle. I shall be back. Hey guys, my hubby just brought me out a lovely cup of tea. So, to make things easier for me, I'm just going to put 1/3 of the mixture into here, because I just have a 1/2 teaspoon here and it just makes it easier for me for measurements. But you will know that you will need to put 1.5 teaspoons per 4 litres of water. So I'm going to take my part 1 and you're going to give it a really good shake, guys. It just went all over me. Don't do that. Okay, make sure your lid is on tightly and then give it a good shake away from you. Oh, it's leaking. I have the lid on tight, but it's still leaking. So that's not good. And as you can see, it's a colour, it possibly could stain your clothes. So let me just wipe that off there. Thankfully it didn't get into my mouth. Okay guys, so I have a 1/2 teaspoon. I'm just going to pop that into my water. So you see how little you need, guys? So this is much more economical, because you might decide you don't want to do this anymore. And rather than having to pay like 50 bucks or whatever it is, this will cost you half the amount. And as I say, it's Canadian. Now then, so now part 2, I'm going to shake it. That's weird, that's also leaking. Again, I'm going to take my 1/2 teaspoon. And I'm going to pop it in there. And now I have my nutrients in, and we'll add my Superthrive later, but now that I have my nutrients in, I'm going to check the pH of my water. You're going to take your little vial, just take off your lid, and I'm just going to put a little bit in there. Okay. So pour some into your vial. Take your little vial and you're going to put 3 to 5 drops in there. So because I don't have this full, I'm just going to put 4 drops in. So just squeeze it. 1, 2, can you see, guys? 3, 4. Okay. Then you're going to put your lid on and you're going to shake it. So you want your pH to be between 5.5 and 6.5. So you'll see here. So can you see here? We have 4, 5, 6, 6.5, 7, 8 and 8.5. I'm going to take your little vial and you're going to match it up to the colours. So the closest colour to it. And actually, see again there, guys? Mine is at the 6.5. So I don't actually have to add any to this. The last time it was actually at 6. And remember, I probably have a little bit too much nutrient in there. So when you're doing this, yours will be correct. So if you're hitting in the red or in the darker greens, you're going to have to add some pH down or pH up. So if you're up in this section, you're going to add your pH down. If you're in the reds, you're going to add your pH up. Okay? So let's say mine is in the red. I'm going to add the pH up. So what you do is you just add tiny little drops to the water. You test it again until you get to the desired pH. So I'm not going to be using this, so I'm just going to do a little experiment, guys. Now remember, this is a purely experimental. So it says add small drops and retest. So let's go all out, guys. Let's just add a good bit of it and then just see what it does to the pH of the water. So you can see there I put like certainly more than a drop. You can see the colour of it in the water. I'm going to stir it. You'll just see exactly what it does to the pH. Okay, then we're going to empty our vial. Let's test it. Test. Where are we? Can you guys see me? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're cooking, as they say. Let's look at this. Look at the difference. So now, look at the colour. Now you can see, guys, the pH has gone all the way up to 8.5. Okay, so I hope that explains it to you. I guess I'm lucky I don't have to adjust the pH, but I still would always test it just to make sure. So there is there's a little science experiment before your eyes, guys. Okay, so our Superthrive. Guys, remember, I'm not doing this proportionately. You will need to do this. So it's basically saying it's at 1.2 ml per 4 litres of water. So this is 2.5 ml. I'm going to pretend I have 4 litres here. I'm going to put, oops, half a ml. So, you know, my ratios are off there, guys. I will put up in the description though what the ratios are, but they will be on the back of the bottles as well. And then you're just going to shake that up, and then you're going to keep it in a container, because it's going to take you a long time to get through 4 litres of water. And keep it in a safe place, as I say. Don't do what I did if you have young children and put it in a juice container, and just keep it away from everybody. So that would be the solution for my plants if it were correct. So this is the correct solution here. Okay. Okay guys, so we've washed our leca, we have prepared our solution, and now we're going to prepare our plants. So I'm going to show you 2 that I've already put in leca, and I'm going to check the roots on one of them. The other I'm not going to check the roots on because I'm a little concerned about it, but I'm going to show them to you now. Okay, so these are the plants. So I just got this cutting recently from Thailand, and it is a curry splash, which is very beautiful. And I have it in this little glass container that I bought in IKEA. And what I like about this is you can see how much water is in here, and you can see when you need to top it up. Basically, you want your water level to be below your roots, because this is how the leca balls quick the water up, and then the roots just take water from it as they need it. Now, I did read that one guy says you should take them out of the water and wash the leca balls and put them back in every time they need to be watered. I'm not sure if that's true. I didn't do that with this, so that's something that maybe you could look into. I would be inclined not to do that because I think it would disturb the roots. Maybe you could do it every maybe 2 months or 3 months or something like that, but I wouldn't be inclined to do it every week. But for demonstration purposes today, I haven't checked the roots on this yet, so I'm going to check them now. So I'm going to empty the water out first. So I would do this, if I was checking the roots, I would wait until the water was all gone. But just for today, I'm going to spill the water out. This is the great part of doing this in your back garden, guys. And of course, I'll put them into this. I have another glass vase here, so I'm just going to try and pour the leca balls in there so I can easily get the plant out. Of course, oh, here we come. Oh, sorry guys. Don't do that. Look at this, guys. Look at the roots on that. It is liking leca. I hope you can see that. You can see already there is new roots there. Look at those beautiful new white roots. It's hard for me to see if this is focused, guys, because I'm out in the back. But that's very promising. Now apparently the old roots will die and it will send out new roots. So I'm very pleased. Oh, look. Guys, look. There were some roots on there. So you know what? This would tell me don't be taking them out. Because look, some of the roots actually are actually stuck to the Leca balls. So, you know what? We live and we learn. So I'm going to put this beauty back in. I'll take out some more of the Leca balls. And you want your roots to be sitting, you can see where I have it? I have it probably, not quite, yeah, maybe 2/3 up on the vase, and then you're going, well actually I'll bring it up a little bit higher because I don't want the leaf to be squashed. So I'm going to take a few more Leca balls. Wow, those roots came quickly, guys. That's probably only maybe 2.5 weeks. Now I can see it did actually disturb some of those roots. Okay. So now, guys, I'm going to add my nutrients. So I'm going to add them about 1/3 up from the bottom. I'll come over here and show you. And you will let them dry. You will let it dry out completely before topping it up again. So I'm just going to add. Okay, so I'm just actually going to add that much there. Can you see? Okay, guys. So now for our new plant. Here I have a Hoya Kentiana. This was my variegated plant that reverted, and this was a cutting I took off probably over a year ago. So let's try this in Leca. So I'm going to take this plant, it's very well rooted. Oops, I'm going to take it out of the pot. You can see how well rooted it is. And then I'm gently going to take off as much soil as I can. Probably shouldn't be doing this into the water, guys, but I'm not prepared. I don't have a bucket. So you're just going to gently remove as much soil as you can. And then I'm going to dip it into the water just to loosen the soil. So can I get some more off? Well, that was just a little cutting here. It's got nice roots on here. That's what I love about plants. They just keep giving and giving. Okay, I'm going to actually try using the hose, just very gently. Okay guys, this is actually easier said than done. I think there's still some soil on here, but I'm now getting to a point where I'm damaging the roots. So I think I'm going to just give it one more wash and then I'm going to try it in the Leca. Hopefully it's not going to affect it if there are some just tiny residual pieces of soil there, but I am nervous of damaging the roots. With this one I don't have a smaller vase, so we're going to have to use this vase here, which is probably a little too big, but it's all I have at the moment. So I'm going to take my washed Leca balls. I'm going to fill it up about 2/3. Drop them everything. I think actually the funnel will be really good for this. We have a funnel. Probably more actually in this because it's such a small little plant. Okay, so I have filled it up to there because if this isn't that big a plant. Now I'm going to take the roots and I'm going to rest them on top of the Leca and then fill it in. I'm going to have fun picking up this Leca afterwards. Okay, so I have covered all the roots with Leca. This is definitely too big a vase for it, but it's all I have at the moment, so that's what we're going to run with. And now we're going to take our nutrient water and we're going to fill it up about a third. Actually, with this we could probably go a little bit more because the roots are so high up. So I'm actually going to fill it up to there, just because the roots we know are up here. So now it'll whip the water up and we'll check in on the progress of this later. And I do have 2 shipments coming from Thailand. I know I said I'd never do it again. One is what's owed to me from the original shipment, and the second is a young man who is an independent who has bought some plants for me. And when I do the unboxing, I'm going to give you all the information about him. He's a young Canadian man living in Thailand, and this could be an amazing opportunity for many of us plant lovers. Okay guys, so I hope that video was informative and that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, guys, please ask below. If you have any comments or advice for me, also please comment below. And guys, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would appreciate it. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, that would be amazing. Okay guys, you take care. Bye now.